the same time, the Department of Defense says it welcomes an inquiry into the docking of the Russian ship in Simonstown. In a statement, the department says this will follow an opportunity or offer an opportunity for the department to ventilate its side of the story and present concrete evidence. Let's get an international relations expert's view on this now with Senior Research Fellow and Director at Africa-Asia Dialogue, Thembisa Fakude. Mr. Fakude, thank you very much for your time on eNCA. This, of course, is a diplomatic nightmare, isn't it?
Well, for South Africa it is, but also it has raised a concern to the larger South African society. We all are waiting for answers, and the answer will be, did the Lady R ship that was docked at Simonstown unload the ammunition that it's claimed by the ambassador of the US, or didn't it? And that's the question that many of us want to get answers from. And at the moment, we are not getting any answers. Instead, we've heard that the president is going to appoint a commission of inquiry, not denying nor accepting that the allegations made by the ambassador are correct or not. And now we are hearing that the ambassador has been called to appear before the Minister at the International Relations and Cooperation to answer certain questions. And that, of course, it's problematic. South Africans are on the edge at the moment, not knowing exactly what's going on. And all they see, they're seeing that the rand-dollar exchange continues to deteriorate.
Now, Mr. Fakude, I want to go back to a point you made, which is very important for us as South Africans, because you keep mentioning that we are sitting on knife's edge. They're not denying the fact that this ship actually docked in Simonstown, and not denying that arms were actually sent to Russia, and instead just saying they will appoint a commission of inquiry, which we know, you and I, could take a very long time in our country. Where does that put us? How does it make us look?
Well, it makes us look extremely disorganized. It makes the country look as if it's on an autopilot. There is no precedent who can give quick and immediate answers, particularly given that this incident occurred over 6 months ago. So it makes us look very disorganized. Not long ago, we had the president who was caught off guard for saying that South Africa was going to be withdrawing from the ICC. And the day after that, he came to say, no, it was a mistake. He didn't mean that. Now we have a situation where he was asked again, caught off guard, to answer this incident that occurred 6 months ago. He couldn't give us a clear answer, instead resorting to a safer mode of saying that he's going to appoint a commission of inquiry. So South Africa is in a very, very serious situation at the moment in terms of how we're viewed by the international community. And that is certainly going to dent the investors' confidence in this country. But importantly, it's going to dent our confidence as South Africans towards our own president in the government.
Ms. Fakude, obviously all these events are not happening in silo, right? Some things are happening in front of us, and it's actually step by step. So firstly, South Africa at UN meetings decides to abstain. Not the only country, but we do abstain from voting on whether or not Russia should be sanctioned, right? Then the ICC says there's a warrant of arrest for President Vladimir Putin, which we know is supposed to come to our country in August for the BRICS summit. Although Sydney Mufamadi, who's the advisor to the president on international relations, is still busy on that apparently. And then this happens. And now you're finding out from government that, look, we've been in talks. So it means our government knew that these were the allegations that would come out. But the ambassador, the US ambassador, says it anyway. What do you make of the US ambassador? Let's look on that side. Is it a matter of public interest, or do you agree with our government that he just went over diplomacy? He could have kept quiet and made sure that all meetings are concluded first before saying anything?
Well, we know that when the envoy that was sent by President Ramaphosa to the United States went on that tour, the ambassador was not told about that envoy. He found out through sources that are available to you and I, and then he decided that he was going to go and be in Washington during the visit of that envoy. We've had this from very reliable sources. That's the first point. The other point, of course, is that he feels undermined by his counterparts in South Africa. The fact that they will be sending an envoy to go and cajole and convince some of the top decision makers in America before going to him as a representative of the United States in this country, that to me this demonstrates that somehow there is a problem between the relationships or relationship between at least the South African government and the U.S. Embassy in South Africa. And I think, you know, an ambassador of his stature surrounded by very senior technical managers in the embassy will not have organized a press conference and make such a serious announcement without, you know, certainly confirming whether this was true or not. So there is certainly an element of truth in what he's saying.
Two questions for you just in the last, you know, I just need to understand from you, if you could just explain to myself and the viewers what the International Relations Department said about this afternoon or what would happen today. They said they démarched, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, D-A-M-A-R-C-H-E, the U.S. ambassador to them. What does that mean, firstly? What does that word mean exactly? And, you know, as an ambassador in any country, what would that mean for you? Just my first question there. And just lastly, also, in terms of if this is found to be true, if South Africa is found to have actually armed Russia for the war that they wage on Ukraine, sanctions on us, what does that mean for us? Should we run away from our country? Should we prepare to leave?
Well, the first question, it means that he was you know, commanded to come to the meeting. That's the first point. The second part of your question is that we're certainly going to be out of AGOA come the renewal of the AGOA, which is a very important trade arrangement that the United States have with African countries when it comes to its renewal in 2025. So we are in a very serious situation, and one will expect that, of course, the South Africans will be going to cajole and speak to their partners in the United States to ensure that we remain good trading partners. We can't really afford to compromise, you know, give away the 400 billion rand worth of trade with the United States. I listened to the minister within the presidency this morning, the chief communicator of the South African government, and she said that the United States will not dictate, you know, who are South African friends and foes. And for me, would have expected that as a chief communicator, given the understanding of the trapping of sound bites, one will avoid that language, particularly because you are on the back foot in this regard. But, you know, she went on to say that we're not going to be dictated to by the United States of America, a country that provides us with 400 billion worth of trade. And at the same time, she went on, notwithstanding again the trapping of sound bites, that, you know, United States needs us as much as we need United States. Well, I don't agree with that. I think we need United States more than United States needing us.
Yeah, I think obviously, you know, the biasness tips on the other side more than ours. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That was Senior Research Fellow and Director at Africa-Asia Dialogue, Thembisa Fakude. If this is true, we're in trouble, South Africa.